How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Black Line Brief. I'm your host, Matthew McKim. Well, I don't know how many of you tuned in to see Baron Coleman's episode. Yesterday, I broke down the Erika Kirk video, and much of the same points he made, I made, which is pretty reassuring that the way I'm looking at it and thinking about it is right on. I mean, he's got one of the biggest podcasts out there. And the things that stuck out to him that he felt a need to point out were one and the same that I did, which, like I said, was reassuring that I was able to find those things. And those things bothered me too. And that's also reassuring that I'm not crazy. But so after watching it multiple times and rewatching that video, I was left with a couple different thoughts. There's a guy named Chase Hughes. He used to work for the government, and he worked in like behavioral recognition and developing what is known as the NCI checklist to determining whether or not you're in a PsyOp. Like if a PsyOp is being ran on you or your population or your country. And it's a checklist from 1 to 20 questions. And you answer each one out of 5, 5 being the greatest, 5 being like if you have like substantial facts or evidence that it's like a fact. 5 is like confirmed and not just speculated. And I took it in regards to the response publicly, officially, after Charlie Kirk's assassination, the FedSlop narrative story, TPUSA official statements, Erika Kirk's official statements, Andrew Colvett, everyone in TPUSA, but also Erika Kirk, things she said publicly, and how TPUSA is framing everything from September 11th to today, including the 2 phone calls that just took place that Candace released this week, the audio recording and then the video recording one. And there's an interesting part in there where Erika did something that Baron didn't catch, and it's a little esoteric, but and I'm going to go there and just entertain me that it could be nothing at all. He thinks it has more to do with dishonesty and deception. So yeah, that's kind of what I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the covering of the one eye esoterically and its historical relevance, what it means, what it's signaling, and we'll get into that. All right, but let's start with, it's interesting. I want to hear him again talk about the timeline. Oh, and that's the other thing. I don't know how many of you have been, were ever fascinated with, history in general, but like these key points in history where tragic things happened, whether that be September 11th, Pearl Harbor, JFK, MLK, Teddy Kennedy, and how it drastically changed the country. And in many ways, we've never been the same. We've never recovered from any of these events. And we've never been given actually true answers. We've only, and I think that's what's going to happen with Charlie Kirk. I don't think publicly they're ever going to admit anything. It's all going to be us doing the research and finding things out on our own. And I think we just need to validate one another in those things, because I don't think they're ever going to admit to anything. But yeah, so let's get started with Baron's. We're not going to watch the whole thing, just certain parts. Just hang in with me, and then we're gonna hop over and do some other things that I'm going to show you guys. Okay. Let me hop here.
Erika Kirk's schedule in the last few months. Keep in mind, her husband died on September 10th. September 12th, just 2 days later.
Oh, and he's comparing. Yeah. Okay. So sorry. Let me back up a second. I was thinking about this when I was listening to him, that anytime, and this was such a good idea for me, like learning how to start creating really good content, how to be engaging, thought-provoking. When you want to talk about an individual directly, about behavior, about things you're concerned about, instead of just coming directly out and saying it, finding historical precedent that you can compare it to. helps bring weight to the point that you would eventually make. And I think a lot of the time that's exactly what Barron does in his opening statements. He uses some sort of historical event that is similar to or an opposition of what we're seeing with Erika Kirk and TPUSA. And he uses it to juxtapose how, in the same circumstances, this other person, Jackie Onassis, also lost her husband, public assassination, at the age of 31, with 2 kids under the age of 4, and how drastically different their responses were. Jackie O retreated from public life, hid, shrouded her kids from public spotlight. She wanted to protect them, keep them out of everything. I mean, yeah, Erika's done that. She did that from the beginning. I don't even know if those are her kids. I mean, she showed us pictures of a 5 and 7-year-old with her thumb over their face and said those are her kids. So but I mean more just the response of Erika compared to the response of Jackie. And that Jackie didn't do public speaking events immediately following JFK's assassination. Can you imagine, instead of grieving privately, not in the spotlight, she chose to publicly grieve in front of all of us on purpose. Whether we believed it or not as authentic, and I don't think it was, that's what she chose to do. She chose to get on camera and cry in front of us over and over, kiss her husband's hands in the casket and film that. That leads a lot of credibility to the NCI PsyOp checklist that this was and is a psychological operation meant to manipulate us and to move us in some direction. I would have to say that a genuine, loving wife who lost their husband, like Jackie O did, and so did Erika did, that the healthy, good response would be to grieve in private with family and your kids and to be together with them. Not immediately to do what Erika's done from day one and do everything in the spotlight, take over this massive organization and work every day and be away from your kids and away from your family. To me, that is just one of many, many suspicious things that make me question her intent, her credibility, her honesty, her integrity, and that all of this is, a PsyOp, and it's being ran on all of us. All right, so let's go back over there. And let's pay attention to the timeline and how quickly she turned around and just went on and just began the PsyOp. And that's the thing about a PsyOp is you got to get out there and you got to do these things. You got to shape the narrative. You got to emotionally manipulate people. You have to guilt them.
She delivered her first public address since her husband's public assassination. She spoke from Turning Point USA's headquarters in a live-streamed speech vowing to continue her husband's mission. September 21, 11 days after his death, she delivered a eulogy at his memorial service, addressing roughly the 250,000 people present, as well as the approximate 100 million people who watched online. September 27, she hosted an episode of the Charlie Kirk Show podcast. She announced the show's continuation with a new format, her commitment to the American Comeback Tour on college campuses, and plans to release unseen speeches and interviews by her late husband. October 14, she attended a White House ceremony to accept the Presidential Medal of Freedom awarded posthumously to Charlie Kirk by President Donald Trump. So October 29, she spoke at a This Is the Turning Point campus tour event at the University of Mississippi in Oxford, awkwardly hugging the vice president in black leather pants. November 5. She appeared in her first TV interview since her husband's death on the Jesse Waters primetime Fox News program, reflecting on his life, the loss, the faith, and her last moments with Charlie Kirk. December 4, she was interviewed at the New York Times Deal Book Summit by Andrew Ross Sorkin, discussing her husband's legacy, political discourse, and her role at Turning Point USA. December 8th, she was interviewed live on Hannity on the Fox News channel by host Sean Hannity, focusing on her decision to complete and promote her husband's book, Stop in the Name of God, Why Honoring the Sabbath Will Transform Your Life. December 9 appeared on Fox and Friends on Fox News, discussing her husband's book and legacy. December 9, later in the day, interviewed on the Brian Kilmeade Show on Fox News Radio. Even later that day, December 9, served as a guest co-host on The Five. December 10, appeared on the show Outnumbered on Fox News for a full hour. December 11, appeared on Will Kane Country on Fox News. December 11, interviewed on the Glenn Beck program, addressing conspiracy theories about her husband's assassination. Of course, promoting his book and discussing his legacy. December 13, participated in a 1-hour CBS News town hall moderated by Barry Weiss, discussing faith, grief, political violence, conspiracy theories, and raising children in the social media era. December 18, delivered a speech at Turning Point USA's America Fest Summit in Phoenix, Arizona, in a gold sequined outfit. January 21, spoke at the kickoff of the Turning Point USA Faith's Make Heaven Crowded tour at Harvest Christian Fellowship in Riverside, California. January 22, spoke at the Make Heaven Crowded tour in San Diego, California. Of note, more than one of these speeches featured Erika Kirk coming to the stage with fireworks going off around her. Everyone grieves differently, I suppose. Perhaps some don't even grieve at all. And that is your opening statement. If you thought that was heavy going into it, just wait. It gets worse for her tonight. I hate to say it. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but this is not going to be good. This is not going to go well at all. Stop and start videos. I heard Jimmy Dore this morning talking about how people didn't like when he stopped and shared the video. I'm like, then just go find the video on X and watch it. Why do you want to watch me watch the video? Wouldn't you rather watch someone provide commentary?
Yeah, I agree. So hopefully everyone shows up and watches me watch the video and provide commentary.
And give thoughts. That's what you're going to get, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to get a fair dose of commentary and thoughts here. This is Erika Kirk, just 5 days, allegedly, after her husband passed away, shockingly. That is a genuine smile, believe it or not. This Marina Minas over here, she is the marketing director, I think, at TPUSA. Also on here, I think in a second, it's going to focus solely on the affable Erika Kirk 5 days after her husband passed away. I want to point something out on the bottom because I've seen some confusion on why she's.
Yeah, so people are wondering, like, what was the point of her making or laughing in the beginning and making the comment about the thumbs up. So keep this in mind, right? She's been married to Charlie for years. During COVID, I mean, because she was dating him in 2018 and they were married. Zoom has been around for years. She supposedly ran a nonprofit in Romania since like 2012, runs a clothing company, created a web app, and she supposedly has never experienced the thumbs up and the symbols that are at the bottom, what you can do on a Zoom call, and finds that laughing and giggling and smiling 5 days after the assassination, the first time she's doing a FaceTime phone call meeting with these employees, is normal or appropriate.
asking why she's commenting on the thumbs up. There's a question down here, and can you guys hear us? Give us a thumbs up. Can't see anything other than Marina. So apparently she was asking for that before the video starts. And then you will see her cackling when the video starts. But I want to go ahead and get started with it. And I'm going to stop it more than once.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, look at all the thumbs up. Look how cute that is. Sorry, this is a little bit more informal than probably Charlie would be reacting. How sweet. I didn't know they could do that. I hate Zoom. I never like Zoom. Sorry, you guys.
Where is her hair? I had no idea she didn't have real hair. And I'm not knocking people for having fake hair. You know, whatever. You want fake.
I just wanted to say first and foremost, my heart obviously is broken for you guys as much as it is for our family. You guys lost not only a boss, but someone that you looked up to, someone that you believed in his mission.
Let me back that up for a second, or let's see if she puts
That
it
you
back in front of the
also,
eye again, because I need that. Yeah, it's
that
going to
you
be
loved.
right there.
Like if you're talking
Right here. Okay. I don't know if anyone is aware of what this symbolizes and how, and people have speculated, right? A lot of the rich and powerful individuals are part of these secret societies, whether it be the Bilderberg Group, the Council on Foreign Relations. What's the one in the woods in up above San Francisco? Oh my God, it's like the Bavarian. I can't think of it right now. Another common one. But the covering of the one eye, right? I'm going to read you guys something and just hang in there with me, right? I'm going to explain a little bit of the history of this. So throughout history, covering one eye has carried layered symbolic meaning. At its core, it represents a shift away from ordinary dualistic perception toward singular or unified sight, a concept common in esoteric traditions. In symbolic language, two eyes represent duality, light and dark, good and evil, material and spiritual. Covering one eye signifies the rejection of surface level vision in favor of an inward or hidden form of awareness. This idea appears across multiple belief systems and mythologies. In ancient Egypt, the Eye of Horus emerged from a story of loss and restoration, knowledge gained through sacrifice. In Norse mythology, Odin gives up an eye in exchange for wisdom, reinforcing the archetype that insight often comes at a cost. These stories don't glorify blindness. They elevate the idea that power and knowledge are obtained by those willing to give something up. Later, the Eye of Providence enters Western symbolism. Originally, it represented divine omniscience, God seeing all, but in modern interpretations, particularly within occult and countercultural frameworks, that meaning shifts. The symbol becomes associated not with divine oversight, but with human power structures, surveillance, and authority operating above public view. In contemporary pop culture, the one-eye gesture has taken on a new role. Critics argue it functions as a visual shorthand for dominance and control, a message that suggests hierarchy, the watcher versus the watched. Whether intentional or not, the imagery taps into deep psychological responses. Humans are instinctively unsettled by the idea of being observed, especially by an unseen or unaccountable force. This is where the controversy emerges. Some interpret the symbol as signaling elite membership, initiation, or alignment with hidden systems of power. Others argue it is purely aesthetic, provocative, Provocative imagery designed to attract attention, sell products, or build mystique. The reason this symbol persists is simple. It works. It compresses ideas of knowledge, secrecy, authority, and control into a single striking image that doesn't prove coordination or conspiracy, but it does explain why the gesture feels powerful, unsettling, and enduring. Ultimately, the one eye symbol sits at the intersection of mythology, psychology, and modern media. Whether viewed as enlightenment, manipulation, or mere spectacle, its power lies in its ability to make people feel that someone else sees more than they do. And that feeling, more than the symbol itself, is what gives it weight. So it's not lost on me the significance of her doing this here. Right at the beginning, with everything that TPUSA is now trying to control and shape, the power, the influence that this organization has, and its ultimate figurehead, Erika Kirk. And I mean, some of you can maybe do a deep dive on these gold rings and what people have speculated they mean and symbolize. She's publicly stated that they are the initials of their children. Which children? The 1 and 3-year-old or the 5 and 7-year-old? Who knows? All right, let's get back to, so now we're going to hop over here. Okay, so I took, let me make sure it's sharing. Yeah. So I took the NCI checklist. These are not the scores I did. These are the ones it did without knowing any real facts in the matter, but we can still read through it. So in relation to Erika Kirk becoming TPUSA CEO shortly after Charlie Kirk's killing and her public messaging since, okay, they gave it a 58 out of 100. That's ChatGPT, right? But let's read it. The timing of the messaging, rapid succession, first major public messaging within days, and formal CEO selection within 8 days is objectively tight timing. Emotional manipulation. Early public remarks use strong, battle resolve language that can function as emotional mobilization. It's a common strategy in PsyOp messaging. Uniform messaging. TPUSA board statement plus repeated themes across appearances, posts suggest high message discipline. It says not automatically sinister, but it says it does score this item high, okay? Missing information. Official statements typically omit complexity, legal uncertainty, and internal deliberations and counter frames, especially early on. So it gave it a low rating on that one. So simplistic narratives. Public tragedy comms often compress into evil versus good, courage versus enemies, which they did. Tribal division. Yeah. Us versus them. Potential in the way media, enemies, or evildoers are positioned, which they did against like anyone coming out and questioning the official narrative and anything that Candace said. Call for urgent action. Yep. Continue the movement rally. We need to continue Charlie's vision. We're going to pick up the bloodstained mic, right? We're going to continue on. Yep. Themes show up quickly after the event. Overuse of novelty. Yes. Assassination plus this changes everything. Language tends to spike novelty framing. Okay. Financial and political gain. You could tell me, guys, has there been extreme financial and political gain after this assassination? TPUSA, $250 million. Charlie Kirk turning down Bibi Netanyahu to take TPUSA to the next level. Erika Kirk stepping in them raising $250 million. Now TPUSA is going 2.0. Yeah. Suppression of dissent. It says it, ChatGPT said it doesn't have solid evidence, but yes, anytime Candace Owens or anyone came out with an opposing idea or questions, they immediately called her crazy. They tried to discredit everything she said or having Mitch Snow on. Immediately, they started trying to suppress dissent. False dilemmas. Yeah. Bandwagon effect. So a lot of these, it scored it low, but I'm going to show you mine. So I'll just read. And then emotional repetition. And in all of her, in that video phone call, she continually repeats, and Barron talks about that at the end, how many times she repeats the word family, love, cherry pick data. Yeah, the things that they chose not to mention in the official story that don't fit actual physical, physical reality, like a 30-06 stopping his neck, stopping that. Logical fallacies, manufactured outrage, framing techniques, rapid behavior shifts, historical parallel. It scored it at 58 out of 100. When I took it, my score was 95. A score that high means you're judging nearly every indicator as overwhelmingly present in Erika's takeover plus TPUSA's messaging environment. The timing, the message discipline, the framing, incentives, dissent control, urgency, and pressure. And it says it's internally consistent. Let's go back to the video.
Talking to someone and they do this, they're not believing what they're telling you. Like, I got bad news. If the first time you lean in to tell your girl or your man that you love him or her, what up, girl? I just want you to know I love you, girl. And she goes, I love you too. Bro, no, she doesn't. I got bad news for you. Get the hell out. She does not. She did not. I believe in you. No, she does not believe in you. I had to say, I had to go like an embarrassed little fifth grader who had peed his pants and explain to the teacher why he had to go change. To Erika, tell you what you have to do. I need you to I want you to journal. I want you to talk to your kids.
I want you all to hold on to those. And I want you all to remember those so deeply. I want you to journal about them. I want you to be able to tell your kids about them. I want you to hold those in your heart as why you're still here with the turning point.
And remember, Stacey Sheridan's in the room, that Marina lady's in the room, and I think Andrew Colvit's in the room. He's the PR individual, and he was there. He would have to be there for this. And they're about to do a meeting after she gets off. It's like a company meeting that takes place after her appearance here.
USA family, because that's what we want.
I don't care what you want. Again, this is a job, lady. Like, the only thing I want you to do is pay me my paycheck. A worker's worthy of his wages. That's the biblical relationship we have here. I'm going to show up to work.
When's the last time, like any company you've ever worked for, regardless of an event like this, did the highest person in the company, whether that's the CEO, the owner, or whatever, get up and use religion, use faith, emotional manipulation, guilt, shame, try to use the death of her spouse to manipulate the employees? And how crazy is that? That no one in the room warned her against this. This is why I don't believe she grieved at all. 5 days after the assassination, she's here doing this. She doesn't cry when talking about Charlie, about him not being there, about carrying on his legacy, what he meant to this organization. The only thing she like, I don't even know if she actually like fully tears up, She bats her eyes a lot with the tissue, but no actual tear production. But the one time it looks like there might be some tear production, it's in regards to not firing the employees and their jobs being secure, which is crazy because we now know over 40 people have been fired since this meeting.
The question you should be asking on this next clip. This is I want you to ask yourself this question for the next 20 seconds. I want you to ask yourself this question for the next 20 seconds. Why? Why? Why is this so important to her? Why is this important to anyone? I want you to ask that question. Mrs. Coleman asked me this last night. When she comes in here after the show and while I'm doing the post-production and trimming it up and getting it pushed out to the different platforms, she comes in here and she stands right there. I got a little space heater she stands in front of because it's cold in this room. You got to keep it cold with all the equipment in here. So I keep it icy cold in here. And while we were talking, she said, I just want to know why. Like, but I just keep that in mind while she talks for the next 20 seconds.
And like I said to our small group, after whatever day that was that I did the thing on TV, how many days are still on Good Friday. I told the team, I said, Turning Point USA will continue like my husband always wanted, and it would be bigger than ever. And we're going to honor him by doing that.
For some of you that are just showing up, I covered, and you guys can look this up too. There's something called the NCI PsyOp checklist, and it's a question, a 1 through 20 Q&A, and you answer it. Each question gets a rating 1 out of 5. Okay, and there's 20 questions, and the top score is 100. Chase Hughes is the guy that created it. He worked for the government, and it's to determine whether or not there's a PsyOp being ran on you. When ChatGPT scored it itself, it scored it a 58 out of 100. When I scored it, honestly, with all the knowledge and everything I know about what's happened since then, what TPUSA has said, everyone that works there, Erika Kirk, it scored, all of them had a 5 except one had a 4, so it scored a 99 out of 100. And I went over that. And then the other thing I covered before any of you guys showed up, but make sure to go back because you can see where is the part where she covers her eye, right there. And I cover the historical symbolism of covering one eye. And I wrote something and I read it to you guys. So check that part out, but let's continue here.
We're going to stay humble. We're going to work hard because that's what he would want. And we're going to just make it grow.
Why? Why does it matter? Why does it matter? She acts like this is a church. Like we're out here saving souls and baptizing people every day.
Because the people involved in TPUSA, the people that changed Charlie Kirk's organization from just mainly a political one that was based on libertarian economics, fiscal responsibility, free markets, they changed it into something that was tied to faith and religion. And because they knew like what that does to individuals and how easily people are manipulated and persuaded to do things in extreme ways. When you tie it to their faith, you can get them to do almost anything. Look at all of these mega churches that raise millions and millions and millions of dollars based off of people's personal belief that they're giving to something that is tied to God. You know, besides Smedley Butler saying war is the biggest racket, I would have to say religion is one of the biggest rackets. Even though I'm religious, I'm a Christian, but certain individuals have found and taken advantage of the nonprofit system, the tax code, and people's desire to be part of their faith and to live in obedience to that faith by giving to the church and to Christian organizations, and how you can get people to mobilize and act based on their religious and spiritual beliefs. I don't think it's any accident that Rob McCoy and Erika Kirk and all these individuals, that when they showed up on the scene with TPUSA, that's when this whole influx of bad people came into the picture. And that's when TPUSA took on this whole religious tone. And even more so since his assassination, right? The memorial. And everything that Erika has said publicly, she ties everything to everyone's faith, that it's tied to their faith in God, in being a Christian. And I think they're wanting us to conflate the Republican Party and this political movement with our faith. And they're wanting to do that for some reason, that there's like this bigger existential connection that they want us to put them two together. And like I said in previous videos, I believe something is coming. I don't know what it is. I really don't. I don't think it's any mistake that Charlie was taken out when he did. Everything that's happened since then, not just with TPUSA, but with Iran, with Israel, with Trump, Venezuela, what's seemingly happening just on the horizon, how completely infiltrated our political structure has become from Israel, right? The Show Faith by Works FARA filing showing the largest propaganda campaign in history. Tyler Boyer and Andrew Colvett and Mikey McCoy spouting the numbers, and even Erika Kirk does it in the audio recording in this one about how many people, were at the memorial, how many people they got to sign up, how many people donated, how much merch they sold. They want us to feel like some sort of spiritual and religious obligation to Charlie. And it's no mistake that she said that Charlie's up there in heaven with Jesus, working on behalf of TPUSA and the mission of TPUSA. I'm not fooled by those eyes. Those eyes do look demonic to me. And, I'm glad Barron had the guts to say that tonight.
Like you're in a war zone. Guys, you do political work. Like, you convince people to vote for Republicans. Now, I mean, it's fine. Not a bad mission, I guess. If you want Republicans to win, fine. But you know what? If you don't do it, there'll be other people that do. Like Heritage Foundation exists. They try to get people to vote for Republicans. There are people on the Democrat side. They do the same thing. Again, fine, whatever. If that's your mission, go for it. But they're acting like this is some sort of life or death, some sort of salvation issue. And that if TPUSA falls, the United States will fall, or Christianity will fall, or the Christian kingdom will fall, or Jesus will be ineffective here in the United States. Like it's spoken as if that is what's happening.
And that's not by mistake. That's totally by design. This is controlled, deliberate messaging. And they're wanting us to draw connections between these points, these talking points that they continue to spew out. They're wanting us to feel a certain way. Because then feelings, and I don't know if you guys know this about behavior, feelings affect thoughts, thoughts affect behavior. If they can make us feel a certain way and think about things a certain way and experience these feelings and these thoughts, they can move you into action in a direction that they want to go. And everything that's coming out of Erika Kirk's mouth, Andrew Colvett, TPUSA, and everyone surrounded by them, all that circle, they're all pushing in a direction. And I hope that we're all aware of what's happening. I see it. I don't know what they're pushing us to yet. I don't know what is around the corner, but I feel it in my gut. And all of this deliberate messaging is just clear red flags and signals that they are engaged in a PsyOp. And you don't just engage in a PsyOp for no reason. And we know that Israel literally is engaged in one of the largest PsyOps right now, whether that be through the ADL, through TikTok, through the Show Faith by Works and the FAR filings, that we know that they're literally working hand in hand with thousands and thousands of Christian churches in Nevada, Arizona, California, Texas, Colorado, and many others every Sunday to give out deliberate, guided messaging where if you search key terms as well, you're going to get deliberate pro-Israel propaganda. Christian colleges are in that as well. Geotagging, geolocating, tracking your phone. Why? Millions and millions of dollars spent by the Israel's foreign ministry. Why? I mean, hands down, if that filing would have came out before Charlie Kirk was assassinated and he found out, he would have blown the whistle from the mountaintops. I don't know that everyone's heard about that yet. Hopefully you guys have. I've done a previous episode on it. And I know Baron has, and I don't think Candace did, but Ian Carroll definitely did. And Wolves in Finance.
Girl, you're worth 8 figures. Do you know how many people make $25,000 a year, and it would take them 40 years to make $1 million in income? 40 years. You have that stacked away just over and over and over. It can't be a money thing. It's got to be something more than that. But I am so confused. Ever since she asked me that question last night, I've been wandering around a day saying, why? Why is this so important? Now, I'll say one more thing about this last clip. She keeps saying, oh, we're going to build this so huge. This is what my husband would have wanted. We're going to do this. Is it what he would have wanted? Because I'm under the impression, based on what Candace said, that people said from the...
No, you guys. I mean, everyone's been paying attention. Candace didn't make a claim. Like, she stated a fact that was corroborated. He said no to Bibi. Bibi offered to take it to the next level. He said no. Now he's dead. And now all of a sudden, TPUSA is at a new level. And she used the wording 2.0, the next level. We leveled up. We're going to the next level. Like, it's the exact same thing. And the amount that was offered to Charlie was 150. But she takes over and they've made 250 in 4 months. I mean, imagine how much they're going to make by the end of the year when September of this year comes around and it's 1 year from his death. How much money and what they're going to do with that money. The amount of power and control and influence. And now that they're saying like TPUSA is the new Republican Party, the kind of power that organization has. There's no way BB and people high up in the highest levels of the elite structure that controls a lot of the country, the world, global economies, wasn't ignorant to what they were sitting on, and that in the wrong hands, that would be their downfall. In Charlie's hands, the direction he was going, who he was speaking out against, how he was not holding back, and it was only a matter of time until he continued to find out more, that what a risk that posed to everyone in power. They had to get someone in. And within 72 hours, the board votes her in. And she accepts immediately. and goes straight to work to change the direction in which Charlie was taking TPUSA completely, and acts like it is exactly what he wanted in the direction he was going. And how dishonest that is, and how she misrepresents what Charlie actually was doing in the last weeks and months of his life. That's the source. That's Erika. Don't shoot the messenger. Get mad at me or at Candace or Barron for pointing out obvious facts. That's what she's saying. That's what she's doing. All we have to do is look at what Charlie did in the weeks and months leading up to his assassination, and it's not this. And she has no problem saying, yeah, this is exactly what Charlie wanted.
BB call in the Hamptons, that may not be at all what Charlie wanted. That may not be at all what Charlie would have wanted. Charlie actually may have wanted to keep it a different size because it was offered to take it to the next level.
I already said that. I'm going to move on to her next part. Let's go right here.
But you'll get little moments where you're like, okay, Charlie, I see you. It might be here on campus. It might be in the quiet moments of the night. But he's here, and he's more alive than ever. And he is, he's going to guide us. And we just have to remain humble.
So many contradicting statements. So he's not more alive than ever. Number one, he's definitely the opposite of more alive than ever. And yeah, I think it is fascinating that Candace was attacked for speaking publicly about a dream that she had. And she knew that her and Charlie spoke about their dreams and how much weight Charlie put on dreams. And that it was through dreams that he had premonitions, maybe foresight of what was going to happen to him. Maybe not exactly in the way that it happened to him, but that he did have fears he would die young. And he voiced that over and over again to Candace. But that they attacked Candace for bringing this up, that she was visited by Charlie in a dream and said those to his left betrayed him. But yet, yeah, she can say that she's heard Charlie's voice and Charlie's there and he's speaking to all of us. He's in heaven with Jesus working on behalf of TPUSA to further the mission. This is crazy.
Sounds kind of like what she described, right? Kind of sounds like what Candace described.
Yep.
That Charlie would speak to them. That Charlie would be present. That Charlie would give little messages. Now, why is that okay for Erika to say? Why are we not relentlessly mocking and dragging Erika all over the public? Why is
Team was, I will fight like hell to make sure that all of you have a job here.
All right, let's look. Okay, no, I don't see any tear production in her eyes at all. But this is the only part in this whole video phone call 5 days after he's assassinated. The first time she is speaking directly to the employees in a meeting like this. And the only thing that gets her choked up is talking about their jobs.
I didn't mean to pause it, but again, if someone closes their eyes when they say something definitive like that, they're lying to you. They don't believe it. I will fight like hell to make sure you have a job here. No.
I mean, we don't need to speculate on whether or not it was because she closed her eyes that she was lying. We now know over 40 people have been fired since this meeting. So, yeah, she lied. And it's not that, it's just the eyes that told us that. It's all the people that have been fired that were employed at the time of this meeting. Many of the people that have been fired were probably on this phone call or present at the meeting, and they're no longer with the company and were given no cause, no reason, no explanation. So yeah, she lied again.
No, you won't. No, you won't. I would have immediately started dusting off the old resume at that moment. Oh, shoot, man. She's going to can us all. We're toast. She can't even keep her eyes open when she says it.
I don't want anyone to think the job's in jeopardy because your family, if you want to If you choose to leave, that's different.
She uses wording like the word family multiple times. I didn't count it. Baron did. He talked about it at the towards the end of his episode, how many times she used the word family, and many other repetitive statements, which is a key component of a psyop and emotional manipulation, driving something repetitively over and over and over again, wanting people to feel a certain way. Yeah, that's not normal at all. And I think that, when he talks about her possibly being, demon possessed, which is, it's out there. But I mean, some of you guys I saw in the chat are baby Christians. You just, gave your life to Christ this summer. You may not be into all the history of demonic possession and demons in general. But I mean, if you believe in spiritual warfare, and we wage not with flesh and blood, but with principalities in the unseen world, yep, then I mean, it's definitely real. And that would be something that explains this kind of behavior. And that like a demon wouldn't really be able to be exactly human in their ability to convince us of what they're saying through body language. It wouldn't match up. It would be off. But they would attempt the best they can. They would lie and mimic, right? Like Satan, right? And so to me, there's some tells that if that is the case, that would explain a lot of the odd behavior and words that she's using that don't match up with her behavior and everything she's done since then, let alone that no one in the room, her PR rep and Stacey Sheridan, no one cautioned her against this phone call, this meeting, the things she said, the things she's done. Baron pointed out, like, no one said, we got to stop. No. They're like, yeah. Which leads me to believe they might be too, honestly. I mean, are we ruled by everyone that's sick, demonic, and they all seem to be in the PDF arena? Even Greg Laurie, even Erika Kirk and her Romanian nonprofit organization, and how it was tied to Greg Laurie and his orphanage in Romania, and that guy that was there for decades doing what he was doing. Fort Huachuca has deep ties to trafficking and all of that. I want to try to hint at it without saying it. I really don't want to get dinged on this video by saying certain words. A lot of people are pretty cautious of that. People that have been on this platform way longer than me. And they feel that they've shown trends where, like, yeah, I've said this and, like, look, my video did horrible. But that is pretty common. And we know that Trump was protecting you know who, and then came out and defended Hillary and Bill in regards to you know who and the files being released and them being in those photos. So, like, they're all part of it, protecting one another. And I think they're just getting to the point where they're like, dude, do something about it. None of you have power. None of you can do anything but bitch and moan and complain. Our power is so great and vast. There's really nothing you guys can do about it. So it's like they've dropped the charade. They're not even attempting anymore to really try to pull this off without being found out, which is crazy, like in your face.
I never will, and I promise you, I will make sure that I never.
All right, there was a little bit of tear production. I did see when she looked up and I saw the reflection off the light, there was some tear production there. But think about this. She had tear production about something that she claims that means so much to her that it made her tear up and get choked up, only to turn around in the months following and do the complete opposite of the thing she's promising she wouldn't do. To me, that's indicative of like a narcissistic sociopath, someone that can make themselves cry about something that they are being dishonest about. She did not keep everyone's jobs. And the people that have been fired, it's not like they were the source for Candace. No, Candace made that clear. No, these people weren't. And that video that was released, that young lady, she did a great job recording it and not losing composure. But you could hear she was tearing up. No cause, no reason, no prior disciplinary actions, no explanation. Now you just got to go kick rocks. Oh, we're going to give you your bonus though. But she can tear up about that and say that as if she does care about all of them. Call them family. Does family work them like slaves? Like 20-hour days, 80-hour weeks, week after week after week, people coming in on the weekends. Charlie doesn't want you to be at home on the couch. No, he doesn't want you to rest. He wants you to work non-stop. Don't eat either. Don't sleep. Let's just keep working. Because the moment I get my use of you, I'm just going to fire you on the other end after we pull it all off. And you've done being useful to me. I got it. You're good. Bye. We're going a different direction now. And then we see, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that. I pulled that up the other day on a different video. Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff open up their Charlie Kirk show that's still showing his picture, still has his name, Charlie Kirk's name at the bottom for his email. And he says, and we're hiring 2026. Come apply. Come work at TPUSA. While they're firing people that don't want to be fired, which is their right. I mean, companies can and organizations can fire people that don't want to be fired, but people that bust their ass and like honestly didn't do anything to be fired, what would be a reason why they would want to get rid of people like that? People that cared, that were there for Charlie, the same reason why they couldn't just vote Charlie out. The board could have done that. He didn't own it in that way. There was a board of directors that voted on whether or not he was or was not the CEO. They were the ones that voted her in. So they could have just voted him out. Why didn't they? Because everyone that was there would have left the company. Well, the people that were there genuinely for Charlie, good, honest, Christian, ethical, moral people. Not all the people that came with Erika. Not Andrew Colvett. Not Stacey Sheridan. Not Tyler Boyer. Terrell Farnsworth. Not all of those people. Those people would have stayed and tried to pull off running TPUSA in name, but it would have been depleted. It would have been defeated by Charlie, by Charlie's person, like his personality. Everyone would have left, and all of us fans would have left too, and we would have followed him wherever he went to whatever next organization he created. There was no choice but to get rid of him. In their eyes, sadly.
Never allow a point to where you have to leave because you cannot financially afford to. And that is a promise. I want our family to stay together the best it can.
I want our family to stay together. I mean, this is what people say when, like let's say there's like a 20-year-old kid and they've got 3 or 4 younger siblings and both the parents die in a horrific car crash or something. The 20-year-old might gather the younger kids together and say, listen, I want our family to stay together the best it can. I'm going to start going.
Yeah. Or if it's a cult, the kind of language like the Manson family, right? David Koresh. Let me go to the next part where she starts talking. It's right there.
Here and there that we can't foresee in the future, but for right now, the way things are, I would like to remain if they are status quo, and I think that's the best thing to do. And everything else we can worry about later.
What unforeseen things are you talking about? You just said you're going to provide for me. You just said you're not going to fire me. You just said you love me and I'm your family.
She had to give herself a way out, of course. The unforeseen things that she was foreseeing in her mind when she was saying that statement. Because she was thinking of how she was planning on firing everyone later down the line after she got their use out of them. Let me go to the next part. Right.
I just want to let you know that you guys are all very loved. I'm very proud of you. And Charlie would be, I mean, I think Charlie's just, I'm trying not to say that he would be, he's obviously celebrating in heaven amongst.
Do you really think Charlie is celebrating in heaven? I mean, in the way that we all would if we're absent with the body and we're present with Christ. Yeah, okay. We'd be celebrating in that way, that we're in heaven with Christ. But would we be celebrating the fact that we were just assassinated and that I looked down and my wife is doing everything that I was trying not to do with my family and my company and organization, and which most likely led to my assassination? Me turning down Bibi, me speaking out against Israel. No, I don't think he's up there celebrating TPUSA. Just like I don't think he's working with Jesus in heaven on the mission statement of TPUSA like she would have you believe. Jesus is up there working, guys, with Charlie. They're working for TPUSA.
So many things, but he's so proud of all of you. And he's so proud of all of you for keeping this mission alive. And
no, she says that in the affirmative. He is proud of you. How does she know that? How could you even say that? Why wouldn't she phrase it like he would be so proud of you if he could see what I could see right now? If he could have seen everything you've done since that day to now, he would be so proud of you. I just know it. No, she says he's proud of you as if like she's in communication with him. But it was blasphemous for Candace to talk about a dream. She did this a lot in all of her other public appearances, like look up a lot and like these weird pregnant pauses. And I mean, all of which to me, like, you know, when you see really bad acting, like they're acting like they're thinking, or they're acting like they're having a deep moment of thought, or they're like really acting like they're sad. That's like every public appearance she's done. I mean, from the kissing of the hands, like that didn't feel authentic and genuine either. I was like, what am I watching? First of all, morbid, crazy. Second of all, like not real. Like not real at all. And it's like either somebody speculated like she's a clone or somebody body snatcher, or, you know, I don't think that. But I mean, she's just not behaving in any way like any wife and mother would, right? Baron Red, I don't remember if it was in the beginning or the end of yesterday's show or today's show, but somebody posted a lady felt comfortable enough, an older lady felt comfortable enough to state how her and her daughter were watching this, and the mother posed to her daughter, and I think the mother was in her like 60s or 70s, and the daughter was like in her 20s or 30s. And the mother asked the daughter, do you remember me laughing at all after your dad was killed? And the daughter was like, no, I remember you wearing his shirts and you wouldn't come out of bed for a month. Yeah. And I spoke about how I had a friend who just passed away tragically in his 40s, struggled with addiction his whole life. And weeks and months after, his wife could barely hold it together publicly, even at the memorial, like genuinely could barely hold it together publicly. And all of her family was there to support her through the whole thing. And it was tragic to watch. I didn't get that same feeling and experience at all at any point of any time she's been on the stage or been on camera and done her whole thing, her whole skit, her whole bit. Sad wife, widow. It's been an act from day one, and she is just so bad at it.
he knows that you can do it. That's why you're hired. And he knows that you will be able to carry the torch, and he knows that you're going to do a great job, and you're going to be able to, even though days are going to be tough. Honestly, the nights are the hardest. Mornings are pretty raw too. But once you
Okay, 5 days after I lose my wife, or my wife loses me. No, the whole freaking day from sun up past sundown, actually like just 24 hours straight every day, like the whole thing, it all would be extremely painful and impossible to do anything. It'd be painful for me to look at my kids. I'd see her. If it were in reverse, she would look at my kids and see me. I wouldn't be able to like go anywhere and do anything. Everything would remind you of your partner. Every little thing, every place you went, what food, sights, smells. There's no way I could hold it together at all ever 5 days after losing my wife tragically early at 31. And she's freaking working. And if you guys remember in the opening, he went over her schedule in the weeks and days that followed the assassination. She was doing something like every day. She was just working and working and working and working. How? So she didn't even take 4 days. Candace went away for weeks to Wyoming. Couldn't barely hold it together. Had to retreat. That's a pretty typical response for someone that was close with them. Not in love. Imagine what it should be if you were married to him and had kids with him and were in love with him. It would be like tenfold what Candace experienced. She just loved him as a brother and was close with him as a friend. She doesn't even take a day. I mean, what was it? The next day she did her first public appearance next to the casket. And then after that, she goes on his show. And my father-in-law, who used to work in media, told me how obvious it was that she was either reading off a prompter or they definitely prepared her for that event, that when she was on the show and they're like, and she like looks at his empty chair, put hand on chair, sigh, cry, look deeply. Like it all has been staged and choreographed from day one.
But just what I've noticed these past several days is if I didn't have the family, the Turning Point USA family with me, all of you, I would be a disaster. I mean, I would be in fetal position 24/7. But the fact that we have a continued mission to look forward to and we have our family.
I mean, what about your real family? What about your kids? No, but you're talking about work, your mission. So the mission, the working is what's done it for you. Making the money. I mean, money doesn't do that kind of thing for me. Like, yeah, I'd love to have not like a crazy amount of money, but not worry about money, you know? But imagine for someone that wanted that. She's wanted the spotlight forever, right? Miss Arizona. Then she did that movie. She did modeling. She was on those dating podcasts. She did that CIA video that she was like talking about EMPs. I mean, she dated a professional minor league athlete. She's wanted the spotlight from day one. And can you imagine for someone like that wants money and the spotlight and power and control and influence, that when she got it, that's why she didn't hesitate at all, didn't think once. She jumped at the opportunity as if that was the goal and plan the whole time. No hesitation from the board and the people around Charlie, and no hesitation from her. She didn't need to think about it. She didn't need to pray about it. She didn't need to talk to her family. She didn't need to talk to Charlie's family, his parents. Nope. 72 hours right away.
It's everything. And some of you, this is your chosen family. And just rely and lean on each other. That's huge. Leaning on each other is huge because all of you were together prior to this and will be together after this. And
This is so manipulative.
Yep.
This is so cult-like. This is so creepy. This is so terrible that whoever is to her right and left should have immediately stopped her and said,
Well, we know Stacey Sheridan Andrew Colvett and that Marina chick, which we got to look up and find a freaking photo of her.
Erika, you cannot do this to these people. It is wrong.
No, I think they're all psychotic and narcissistic and they're all sociopaths as well, because they all are there kind of like, yeah, you look great. You sound great. Keep going. You're doing great. Yep. There's no way they're not there, like thinking that she's actually doing a good job, or else people would have been on the other side of the camera, been like silently, not making a noise, going like this. She doesn't stop. She doesn't look and kind of get distracted at anyone. There's no hesitation. There's no like about face in a statement in a direction in which she's going. She's just full steam ahead the whole time. No hesitation. All those people, not good people.
It's evil, and it should be illegal, frankly. This family manipulation. If I didn't have you, if you didn't work here, I would be in a fetal position 24/7. You don't want to do that to me, do you? You better not quit when we've got all these hat orders to fill. You better not quit when we've got AmFest coming up with our 33 stars in the flag. You better not quit. Comment I keyed in on
for a while for that.
Pink eye is from feces. I'm like, well, I have no idea. Guys, we have a show going on over here. I have no idea.
You looked at the chat. Someone said something about pink eye. I haven't been able to look at the chat yet. I'll get in there in a minute.
We will.
We will be wise stewards on our Gulfstream 5.
I pointed that out yesterday when I broke down this video initially, right? No, being a good steward financially of all the money you brought in is not enriching yourself, is not spending 50 grand to fly in a Gulfstream 5 one way. And it's definitely not increasing your salary and giving yourself and all your peers bonuses. And it's definitely not firing all the people that just worked their ass off for Charlie, for his memorial, for AmFest. No, that's not humble. That's not being a good steward at all of his organization or the finances that now you're in control over.
Flying all over the country at $10,000 an hour or more. Yes, we will be the wise.
Was and will be. And
I wasn't going to stop it here. His vision was and will be. Which is it?
Yeah, it can't
we have
be
two
both.
visions here. Was and will be.
it's just, I feel so blessed.
It would be his vision is, right? Or his vision was, and we will continue it to be. Yeah, trying to put words in Charlie's mouth is crazy.
And honored.
Yeah, honored and blessed, not the words I was thinking of at all.
And now we're flying around on Gulfstream.
Yeah, he already pointed that out. Let me get to the next part. And she's not, there's no tears here, guys. This is nuts. And it's like so consistent with all the previous ones where we saw right here.
In September, Charlie loses his ability to speak
And breathe.
and breathe. And then all of a sudden the money comes flooding in. It seems to me like it was taken. And now you're here 5 days after his death talking about how, we're going to make it huge. It's going to be so big. We're going to the next level. She almost used the word next level. This next part is where she starts, I think, anticipating that people will reject her.
100%. She starts going into, if you start seeing people that grieve in a weird way, don't say anything. No, that's literally human instinct. And part of human nature is that when we see people behaving weirdly in a certain situation, it sets off alarm bells and red flags, and it makes us question, like, why would somebody be saying and doing that? No, she wants you to ignore your human instinct. And why would there be staff employees that are acting weird? She's clearly talking about herself, and it's insane. Well, okay. That's all I wanted to show. But if you guys, I don't know if everyone's still here or not. If you want to put some stuff in the chat, I can read it out, or I can go back and read some things. I'm not sure. I can't see if anyone's live. Let's see. All right. Let's see. 7:49. What time is it right now? 7:50. Okay, there's still some people here. I'm going to read the most recent ones. I'll just read it at the top of the screen. Yeah, she's terrible. She looks down and says, Usha. Yeah, when she starts talking about that story that is so out of touch with all of us that fly coach, like stewardesses aren't letting your kids run and jump around a plane 15 minutes before landing. We're in approach. You're in your seat. You have your belt on, let alone throwing toys around and screaming. Screaming, I mean, you can't control. Kids screaming, kids crying on a plane. That's the way it is. But throwing toys and running around is insane. And she met Charlie in 2018, and I don't think was flying coach anytime after that. We know that he had security from before that, since before he met her, from Candace's own admissions. And so, yeah, he wouldn't have been flying coach either. He would have been flying privately long before 2018. And so when they had their kids, at least a year or two after they met and were married, they were doing, I mean, we see the records, how much money came into TPUSA when they started dating, when they got married. She's never flown coach with her kids. Those kids have never flown in a traditional airplane, only G5s. So that story was meant to emotionally manipulate us as well. And I don't even know if Usha said it. And, you know, if she did, I mean, like JD Vance, like, I don't know, man. I think he's part of the gang. He's part of that crowd. I don't think he could be Trump's vice and not be. It's sad. It's sad, but true. Like when I talk about the uniparty, that only people that get approved to be vice and to be president, whether it's Republican or Democrat, it's still this uniparty selection. It's still their candidate. We never really get someone that's for us. I think that was one of the biggest scams that Trump pulled off on all of us, and it fooled me too, you know. And then when they like tried to indict him and impeach him and charge him with all these felonies, I think that added to the lore, you know, that he wasn't part of the swamp. But the moment he was reelected for his second term, and everything he's done and said since he's been in this time, to me, shows me that he is. He's part of that. So yeah. All right. She looks down and says, Usha, before the tarmac story. Yeah. Obvious notes. She's reading talking points. Yeah. 100%. 44 Glenn Coco. Wise Dove 7. I think the more corruption is exposed, the sooner it's likely Tyler Robinson doesn't leave prison breathing. Yeah. I mean, what they did to Lee Harvey Oswald is still, and, you know, well, or they fake his death like they did with Epstein. I don't know if you guys seen videos of that, like like an actual mortician in a corner breaks down the pictures, the still photos of him after death. They're not Epstein, number one. And when a person is dead, they have to sew the mouth shut because the mouth will just continue to open. And so they have a picture of him dead, supposedly like right after they've taken him out of the prison. So that he hasn't been seen. He's not been to the morgue. He hasn't been treated or anything like that. And his mouth is just closed, which just couldn't physically happen if he was actually dead. Plus, it doesn't even look like him. Look at his ears. Look at his nose. It doesn't look like him at all. You can't change those facial features, like how the ear is, right? Like these are like as good as fingerprints. Same with the nose, you know, aside from getting total facial reconstruction surgery. Let's next one. Yeah, doesn't leave. Oh, you corrected. Yeah, that he doesn't leave prison breathing. I agree. Or they'll force him to plead guilty like Kohlberger. Yeah, that's a whole nother deep dive. They'll do anything to avoid a trial. Yeah, they'll drag out 1 million hearings exactly like Kohlberger's case. Yeah, and then we won't get what we deserve either. Great commentary. Thank you. So many handlers. Stacy filmed that appalling, disgusting casket PR nightmare. Yep. Yeah. And she was there in the car when like Erika's like driving by that video that they showed. I think it was either Candace or it was Candace when talking about Stacy. She showed that like there on the ground to be Erika's moral support was Stacy Sheridan. Not family, not relatives, not friends. Stacy Sheridan. Egging her on, telling her what to do, what to say, telling her this would look great. Let me record you. Kiss your dead husband's hands with an open casket. Don't worry, I won't get his face. Is that okay? And Erika would have had to say, yeah. Do you think it'll be good? You think it'll be good? Okay, yeah, let's do it. Freaking crazy. Next one, 44 Glenn. Maybe I think they would prefer more. 44 Glenn. Maybe I think they would prefer more finality. Yeah. Oh, in relation to those previous statements, I think the people above. And then we have, was it at Marie? It's like, oh, I see what you're saying when you're putting my bad, guys. That's who you're responding to. You're responding to those people's comments, and therefore you are tagging them in your statement. Yeah. All right. I'm new here. I've never really had many live people in my lives until this week. So, I mean, pretty cool. And the moment I get to like 500, I'm going to do something. I don't know what yet, but I mean, I'm pretty happy just to be here and like seeing the awesome support that like Candace has in her community, Ian Carroll, Baron Coleman, Coach Colin. We're not alone. I think that's one thing that I've taken away from this is that like YouTube, as much as it may have divided some people at certain times with some things, this kind of platform, people in open discussion, holding these kind of lives, we get to interact with one another. We get to feel like we're part of a community, that we're not so divided, that we're not crazy. We get to validate one another, support one another. And I think that's like one of the coolest aspects about this platform and like live content. And I get why Baron said his favorite part of his episodes is this. I didn't know like what that felt like until the other night. I think like last night was the first time I actually had people live, and then there was people chatting and I got to read it. And yeah, I'd say this is probably my favorite part too. Let's see, where did I miss? Yeah. Okay. Next one is it's like a handler inception. Yeah. And then the next one is 100%. Let's see. They definitely would prefer it, but it's risky and sus after Epstein. I agree. Great video. Let's give this guy some likes. Okay. Thank you. Why does anyone defend Psycho Koberger? I don't know that anyone's defending him. I think that people are pointing out that how that case was handled and the eventual, like how it ended is very suspicious. Yeah. And I would say like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen any deep dives that Ian Carroll's done on like Vegas, any kind of mass, like major event that galvanates the public and makes us feel a certain way, like very strong emotions. I would question that it's a psyop, you know, and it's hard for me to not think that there's more behind the Koberger thing than just him being a sicko, like the whole lone gunman. He's just a lone sicko that went and did all that by himself, which is actually very rare, very rare. But that there was some sort of designed purpose for it and an outcome that they wanted from it. You know, it invoked a lot of fear in a lot of people. I think even to this day, I live up in that area, and I know that it's a very troubling case that I don't think we have the full story on, but I don't think anyone was defending Koberger. Next. Before the CK investigation, there were a few dedicated YouTubers diving into Idaho 4. The MSM narrative was incorrect and mirrors exactly what's happening with the Tyler Robinson narrative. Glenn Coco messaged me in my email. It's theblacklinebrief@gmail.com. I'd love to know more about what you're talking about. I would love to do much more deeper dives on that. I don't think we know at all what really happened. And so, yeah. Next one. And firing employees stating they're going in another direction is awfully suspicious. 100%. Especially when, like, Charlie was very clear. He didn't want to go in the direction in which BB was offering it to go. The direction that was going to another level, taking it to the next level, which seemingly is exactly what happened the moment he died and Erika took over. They're at a new level, 2.0 even, you would say. I wouldn't say that. She said that. You can't be a good person and associate with Trump. Yeah, I mean, not anymore. I mean, before the whole Epstein thing, I think it would have been harder to, like, say that. And, you know, but I think now, after, like, Epstein, who are we still talking about it? He didn't traffic anyone to anyone. It was just him. He was like a lone sicko. Bill and Hillary, I like Bill and Hillary. They're my friends. Yeah, I think it's tragic what's happening. All the people that's photos are being released of them. It shouldn't happen. Oh, and people are just going to be caught up in this. People that just met him innocently. No, there's context to the photos. People are going to do their due diligence. Like, if someone, like, they put Michael Jackson in a photo, like he was really taking part in it. We all know, if you watch Anna Candace's stuff on Michael Jackson, what they did to him was crazy. Kind of what they did to Prince and Kanye. So no, I think a lot of people that were in those photos, it wasn't. I think the main photos that show real guilt and connection to what Epstein was doing, we haven't seen any of those photos. I think of course the first ones they release are going to be the most bullshit ones ever, right? And they're going to redact and put black marks over faces that, like, don't even need to be redacted. We saw duplicates of the photos that they redacted with, you know, people's faces blacked out, and it's like people that weren't even part of anything at all. They just wanted us to think that we were getting information that was classified. Freaking BS. The most transparent administration ever, guys. We're witnessing it right now. Yeah. Let's see. But laugh out loud. I know we're not here to talk about Koberger, but the similarities are striking. Yeah. I bet there is. I mean, I didn't follow it very deeply. Like, it was troubling to me that I have young kids. So, like, I don't know if it's, like, really creepy and it makes me really anxious about, like, my kids. I'm not going to let that seep into my brain, but you can message me, I said, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that. The dark stains on her inner lips indicate that she's been drinking quite a bit of red wine. All right. Yeah. Well, we know in previous videos, like, she drinks. What is she talking about? Like, she has no recollection of her time before Charlie. Like, she was like MK Ultra, like some people claim, which is for sure possible. Like, you ever seen like Clockwork Orange, or the movie with Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts? I think it's called Conspiracy. Yeah, if you haven't, go watch it. Pretty fascinating. Yeah. Let's see. Good call. The psychic sleuth described him to a T before he was caught. Oh, interesting. That's interesting. I think you're talking about Koberger, though, right? And then I've seen it on people, so to recognize it. Oh, like the red lips and the wine. Yeah, same. Did you see the clip where Erika calls protest demonic, laugh out loud, political punk? Has a great video on it. No, but I'll go look at it. Yeah. All right, guys. What time is it right now? Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you guys, your support. You guys are the best. And I'll read this last one. Interesting that an employee thought to record this. Well, you can email it to me, or you could put the link here. We're all waking up to the government psyops and manipulation. The more they try to cover up Epstein, Charlie Kirk, etc., the more we don't believe them. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Yeah, check out I think I read that already. Oh no, this is another one you wrote. Your favorite darkness. Yeah, check out her Psychic Sleuth out. She used to channel Bundy, and Bundy called Koberger a jacked up version of him. Laugh out loud, like an uglier version. Oh, okay. Okay, one sec. Yeah, put it in the chat, the link in the chat, or you can put it to email it to me. But I'm gonna be signing off now. I appreciate you guys so much. See you guys next time.